so what I'd like to do is kind of pivot, if you will, and
I want to do. Can we do a show where we just make fun of business words?
sure, I think that's good.
I just literally want to mock them all because I just I have a hard stop. Like, what does a hard stop mean? Why can't we just say my meeting has to end at 2? Why hard stop? What's a soft stop? Is there a medium stop? Like,
Yeah,
you roll through the stop sign? And, I mean, how does this work?
that's great. I want to kind of walk through our hiring process because I think there's things that I would be curious about your opinions on what we're doing. Because obviously I want to improve, but also I think there's things we are doing right. I think there's things we could be doing better. And either way, whether it's validation from you or a correction from you, I think there's something that the audience could take from this. So I'm going to walk through our process and then you can kind of tell me what you like, what you don't, what you would change if you were me. Okay. So we essentially,
What I would do is I would lose the hat. No, I'm just totally.
Oh, Tony.
You look good in that hat, actually.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, it's funny. I actually get a lot of hate in the ads that we run about the beanie, and people have, everybody wants to have judgments, I guess. People will say I would never trust somebody that wears a jacket and a beanie together. I'm like, that's a really weird boundary to set for yourself. All right. I mean, that's a self-limiting belief, but
specific. Like, that's a very specific thing you don't like. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like a beanie hate crime.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like
it's weird.
The necessity of that comment, which I think.
I know.
So, and the code. That's what throws me. If you haven't,
I know.
Pretty okay, but.
So we're running. We create posts on Indeed, and oftentimes they're not even sponsored, right? So what we used to do was we would try to get like fun with the language to be like, because we're Good Vibes Squad, right? It's like, but then we realized it's actually better if we're just clear, right? This is what you're doing. Okay. So we started doing that. And so we run these posts on Indeed. And then that's literally the only platform that we do. And we get hundreds of candidates. And then what we do from there is.
Just stop right there for a second and talk about postings. Do you mind?
Let's do it. Let's do that.
So Dina shows you have 14 seconds on a posting to get someone interested. So you're right. The fun and cute things are like a lot of tech companies want to do this, but actually a couple mistakes that people make. They talk about their company first. It's not about the company. It's about the person. We want the person to visualize them doing the work. So any verbiage that you can put in there that if you know who you're attracting, like what kinds of people you need, behaviorally and skill-based, you got 14 seconds to get them to keep reading. That's what you're trying to do. And what are those first 3 or 4 sentences? And that's not a lot. If you think about 14 seconds, just start reading.
Yeah.
You're maybe 3 or 4.
It's a paragraph at best.
Yeah. So maybe you're 3 or 4 sentences, and if people don't like it, they're done.
They're done. Okay. That's great. That's powerful. And I'll take note of that. I actually makes me want to kind of have my copywriter go through and make sure that our posts are really relevant for the personality in which we're looking for. That's a good point. So we're putting these posts on Indeed, and then what happens is people apply, and then our executive assistant goes through and invites. No. At the end of our application, there's the essentially we give them the ability to take the behavioral assessment. If they take the behavioral assessment, we reach out to them and we give them the cognitive assessment. If they do both of them, well, let me rephrase that. If they do the behavioral and it's like a 9 or above, we give them the cognitive, right? And then from there, if the cognitive is a 9 or above, and this is out of 10 for everybody listening, right? It's essentially 10 is ideal fit. The job and the person are like one and the same, and you found a unicorn. A 9 is like you're going to be pretty damn happy. And then obviously a 1 is I should have never done this in the first place, right? So just to give the idea.
Wrong seat, yeah. Maybe yeah. Bus, they're just in the wrong seat, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But so we're doing that, and then when we get somebody that does an average of 9 or above between the two, behavioral and cognitive, then our executive assistant reaches out to schedule a first interview, and then that's usually with a member of leadership team, and then if that goes well, they invite them back for a second interview with another member of the leadership team, and then essentially we view all candidates have made it all the way through the end and try to deduce And I actually feel the last few times we've been really lucky. We've had more people we wanted to hire than we had jobs for, right? Which is a much better place to be in than I've been on both ends of the spectrum, and my God, it feels so much better, Because like there was one time where we had one job and two, like 10 out of 10 candidates. We literally did create another job because within that team, because we were like,
you want to hire talent. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to let them go, could be years before they're back on the market,
Yeah.
So that's essentially the hiring process. And then after that, we obviously make an offer, but they're aware during the first interviews when we talk, we actually have a conversation around the money as well as, what the expectations and the job, and we try to sort fit. And we also try to get a gauge for just culture, right? Because I've also interviewed people where on paper they were a 9 or a 10, and then we talked, and I was like, oh, okay, like, the behavioral and the cognitive didn't talk for culture fit necessarily, right? I feel like that's the one you got to kind of self-source. I'd like to hear your thought on that.
No, so culture's funny. We're talking about culture, but then so we have clients ranging from, clients like you guys who are growing and scaling. I think when we started working with you guys, are maybe 30 or 40 employees. Now,
probably 30, maybe 30, like 20, 25 or 30.
So clients like that, like you were growing and scaling. And then we have clients who've been in business for a long time who have 10,000, 15,000 employees, right? And
wow.
So they use this for different types of things. And every one of them talk about cultures kind of the last 10 years, right? And some people think, culture is ping pong tables and unlimited PTO and, their mission or value statement or whatever. I think you have to define culture as there's macro cultures and micro cultures. The macro culture is what you believe as a company and what you hone in on. And it's something you have to be very definitive about. It can't be just like subjective, right? Like, what does that mean? I think PI is a part of that. Knowing what you value in culture is directly tied to who you are and what drives you. So the micro cultures, that's where that comes in. So you can have a macro culture and a big org. This is what we care about. This is who we are, whatever.
I think those should be called hard culture and soft culture.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, go hard and soft. I mean, I'm macro, micro. You can do whatever you want. I think we should start some new business terms. I think we can call it, we can do a deeper dive on the culture and then pivot on the hard stop at 3. I mean, we could go.
You fit those all in there really masterfully.
That's great. You like that? I throw up a lot during the day on these calls when people start throwing business terms at me. It makes me want to puke. This idea then, who I am as a leader, let's say I'm over a division, who I am and what I care about and what I value is going to determine which parts of the culture I'm going to pick on and go, this is what's valuable. Other ones we're going to say, it's not as valuable. So I think behavior has a lot to do with that, actually, in a lot of ways.
Okay, so
people, go ahead.
Oh, no. Keep going.
I was going to say, there's going to be some people who are going to naturally grasp onto your culture just because it's innate to who they are.
Okay.
There's going to be other people who are going to say, okay, this job that we're asking them to do is a little bit different than what our culture is, but we need different. Like, let's say our culture, one of our cultural values is be curious. That's something we care about. But we want a job where we don't want curious. We want you to do it the same way every freaking time without even, don't ask why, just do it. Like,
you have a misalignment.
Yeah. It's like, and so, it's okay that they're curious. The question is, will they do that job exactly how it's assigned and follow the process every time without exception?